Welcome to another episode of Fraud Tracks. I'm your host, Kirk Berry. Interesting case I want to talk about today. It involves lab fraud, document fraud, and collusion between a licensed laboratory that tests hemp products and cannabis products in other states and a manufacturer out of the state of Florida. So let's jump right in. This case involves Kaycha Labs. Now, Kaycha Labs is a multi-state operator. They have labs in many states. They test cannabis and hemp products. And at the time of this event, they had a laboratory in Tennessee. And since then, the laboratory in Tennessee has been shut down. And it involves a manufacturer called Arvida Labs. Now, Arvida Labs manufactures hemp products, intoxicating hemp products, whatever have you, vapes, gummies, bulk concentrates, and the like. They're located in the state of Florida, and they operate in the hemp space. And I was going through Arvida Labs website one day, Mellow Fellow, one of their product lines to be exact, and I found a certificate of analysis for a product called bulk sour apple rings. Now, this COA was dated on April 15th, and the information on it seemed pretty generic. Everything I would expect to see on the COA is there. And this particular COA has a QR code on it, and Kaycha Labs does that as a matter as a course of business. And so when I scan a QR code, I can look up a product that's housed by the party, in this case, Kaycha Labs, and as a consumer or as an end user, I can uh, look at the authenticity or address the authenticity issue. Hey, is the COA I have in my hand consistent with the certificate of analysis that Kaycha Labs has housed on their server somewhere? And I did that, and I found some obvious discrepancies between the document that I downloaded from Arvida Labs and the document that I pulled off of Kaycha Labs uh, server. So let's jump right into those. Number one, the date on the document has been changed. The first COA shows April 15th. The second COA that I got from Kaycha Labs website shows April 20th. And not only is the date of the COA changed, but the signature by the lab director has been changed accordingly. Now, also on the first COA, they tested a product, Kaycha Labs tested a product called bulk sour apple rings. And when you look at the photograph on the first COA, I see a baggie with 4 apple rings in it. Makes sense. All the information on that first COA is consistent. 4-unit size and cannabinoid results, all expressed based on the gummy test. But on the second COA, that's been changed. Now I have a bottle of a product that's supposed to be a concentrate. It looks like the bottle's empty in the photograph, but I really can't be certain of that. And when I see volume, the volume size has been changed from 4 units to 160 units. And in the cannabinoid totals, on the second COA dated April 20th, I now have total THC per bottle expressed in milligrams, and all that information, of course, was not on the first certificate of analysis. So let me talk for a moment about QR code and why that's important. A QR code, again, issued by Kaycha Labs to represent a document, and that document is housed on a URL code. It's housed somewhere. Kaycha Labs has control of that. And again, I can scan a QR code on a document and see the document that's housed by the lab. Well, this is a dynamic QR code, meaning if you want to, you can change the document that sits at the end of the URL code, as opposed to a static QR code, which can't be changed. And so clearly, we have evidence of the document being swapped out for the second test date of April 20th. And here's an interesting point. All of the cannabinoid testing is the same. All of my results that I see are the same on both certificates of analysis. So the only thing that's been changed are the things that I've talked about a moment ago: the type of product that's been tested, the document itself, the dates have been changed, the measure of units have been changed and the type of product has been changed from gummies to a bottled concentrate. Let me talk about the importance of photographic evidence for just a moment. A lab, when they get a product in, they take a photograph of that product, and that photograph becomes evidence, and it represents a chain of custody issue between the customer and the laboratory. And in essence, the photograph says, hey, this is the product that I received from my customer, and this is the condition that it's in, and this is the product that I tested that ultimately resulted in this certificate of analysis. And that's very problematic when you're swapping out photographs on products themselves. So let me give you my opinions on this case after I reviewed both of these certificates of analysis and looked at the many changes that have occurred between the April 15th document and the April 20th document. Number one, opinions. Kaycha Labs tampers with evidence when they swap out the product photo information on the April 20th COA. And I just explained that just a moment ago. You can't tamper with evidence. You can't change evidence out and pretend that it's something else at a later date and time. Number two, Kaycha Labs commits lab fraud in several ways. A, they make several changes to the April 15th COA to reflect a different product being tested. B, they alter the date of the test to show it was completed on April 20th when it was actually done on April 15th. Look, I talked a moment ago. The results are exactly the same. Milligram per gram, percentages. They didn't do a second test. They just swapped out product information. C, they altered the date of the lab director's signature to reflect the April 20th test date. And D, they swapped out the URL for the QR code to show the April 20th COA on their website, there being Kaycha Labs, and they have custody of those documents. And number three, Kaycha Labs colludes with Arvida Labs to create falsified testing records. In other words, who's the beneficiary here? When a COA is issued on April 15th for some gummies and the sample ID is generated and recorded by Kaycha Labs, and now 5 days later there's a different COA, same sample number issued by Kaycha Labs, same exact results, but now it's not gummies, it's bulk concentrate. Who's the beneficiary of that type of fraud event? Well, it's Arvida Labs. Now they have a test record for a product that by looking at this evidence was never tested in the first place. Thanks. If you found this information useful, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your friends, and if you have any businesses that you would like investigated for one reason or another, let me know. Put it in the comments section below, and I'll take a look at it. Until next time.